What's going on, guys? ChaseWins.com coming to you kind of an early video, depending on how long it takes to upload. Still Tuesday night, still got a bunch of games going on, but we're going to do a video for Wednesday for a couple of reasons. I might as well put this on social media too. But anyway, very busy Wednesday morning. As I've been kind of hinting around to you guys, we've got some new stuff in the works coming out to you guys, and it's going to be all free stuff, some services and some tools that you guys can use, things that you'll be able to take advantage of on how you utilize my service, how you get plays for people that are subscribed, even how you can, get more free information. All of this stuff's been in the works for the past month or so, and been going over how I want to do things, and kind of narrowed it down to everything that we're going to do. So tomorrow, with the marketing team that I'm working with, we are going to finalize everything, and I would love to start next week with all those services ready to go and being used. So a good portion of my Wednesday morning is going to be taken up doing that. So I doubt there was going to be free, time to do a free play. Now, if I do get done with that quicker than expected, I will still do another video. I'll just do it as a scouting report. So we'll just see what happens. But in the event that I was not able to do a free play video, with as hot as free plays are and as much money as my subscribers and viewers are winning off of free plays, I wanted to give you guys one. And we're going to do it in the early game because I do like that game for a couple of reasons. Not really much I can go over right now. The only game, Boston just went into overtime. Overtime's getting ready to start. Clippers game will be starting soon. NHL's now going on. Still got a long way to go in that game. The Cincinnati Reds Pirates game, we had a play in that. That's still going on. Yankees game still going on, although right now they've scored 16 runs, so looks like they've pretty much sealed the deal on that one. Cubs just tied it up a second ago. What did I tell you in the free play video? You better watch Javier Baez and Anthony Rizzo. Javi, home run earlier, and Rizzo just hit one double deep to right field to drive in a run. KB backed him up with the exact same thing, so now it's 3-3, and the Cubs are coming into form. So hopefully they'll push another one across the plate, and they'll be able to hang on. Darvish pitching well. He's still in the Cy Young category this year. He's still in talks with it. If I had to be completely honest with myself, even as much as I'm pulling for Darvish to get a Cy Young, we know Bauer's in talks with it. I still think the front runner's DeGrom. And if I had to make a vote tomorrow, based on what's gone on thus far this season, I can't lie to myself. I'd have to vote DeGrom. And one thing to his advantage this year that he hasn't gotten the last two times he's won the Cy Young is run support, and he's finally getting run support. So hats off to DeGrom. He finally deserves somebody to do a little work with him. But should have two free play winners there, hopefully. Yankees looks like it's going to be easy. As people that watch me every day, I don't know what you expect at this point. It's free play winner after free play winner after free play winner. We had a push on Sunday. Oops. But it's pretty much wins every day. So hopefully we'll keep that going on Wednesday. So on Thursday's video, we'll just do a double recap since I'm going to assume the Yankees is going to be a win, but nothing's finished now. Some of it's not even started. Still have one game that hasn't even begun yet. So be a shorter video. I know some of you will appreciate that. But let's talk about, the card on Wednesday, when I initially started looking at it about an hour ago, at first glance, it doesn't look like anything special. Lines aren't really valuable. Matchups aren't that great. And it looks like it's one of those days where you just kind of pull back, don't play much, and wait for the next day because you don't have other sports going on tomorrow. So if you want to make money on Wednesday, you're going to have to do it Major League Baseball. Well, who better to do it with than the MLB king himself right here? But as I dug deeper into it, there's actually a good bit of value for Wednesday. So depending on information that is still yet to come and things that I'm still waiting to see and how games pan out on Tuesday, because again, all of the baseball action's still going on. I don't think a single baseball game has finished yet. it's going to be, we got to wait for these games to finish, the overnight hours, decisions that get made for tomorrow before we can really determine what size card we're going to have. But I want to jump on one play early, and that is in the early game involving the Nationals and the Rays. Now, in this game, I foresee something happening. Now, I could be wrong about this. Usually, when I make a kind of a bold prediction as one of these things, I'm usually right. And that's because of how closely I follow what teams do and their little patterns. But if you look at teams, and because everybody's got a pitching schedule, they started off, every pitcher has to rest so many days, and they kind of use that same pattern over and over. Couple of times throughout a full season, you'll see it shift where Darvish can be number one in the rotation. He could bump back to number three or number two, and and his days change. But so far, for the majority of the league, outside of teams that have faced injury, they've all kind of stayed on that same rotation. And I don't foresee that really stopping tomorrow. So, looking at the rotation, looking at the schedule, if nothing changes or they don't decide to do anything odd, it looks to me, and I don't see any other way around it, is that the Washington Nationals are going to put in Austin Voth. Well, happy day to the Tampa Bay Rays because he is atrocious. 27 strikeouts on the year is all he's got. He's 0 for 5 in actual decisions. He could be worse than that. He's got he's got an 80 ERA basically, 7.99. I mean, it is awful. He doesn't have a single win this year. And if you look at it, even in the two losses that he had where Washington got run support, oh, buddy, did he give up some runs. Now, because they are in such a hangover from the World Series last year, as I told you they would be, and because they are dead in the water, there is no prayer for them. I don't see them trying to make some big adjustments from now till the end. They're going to ride it out. They're going to do what Boston's going to do. They're going to ride it out. They're going to put their head down. They're going to try to regroup and hope that 2021 is much better. So I see Austin Voth going in as scheduled, which is great for Tampa Bay. What does that mean? That if Tampa Bay swings the bat like they have been for the majority of the year, putting up runs won't be an issue. The question is going to be is how long is Voth going to stay in? I think if they stayed in 4 innings, I don't see any reason why the Rays couldn't average a run an inning. Maybe they don't score for 2 innings, but they have 2 big innings. I just don't see why, if he stayed 4 innings, the Rays wouldn't have at least 4 runs when he departed. Now, again, that's one of the big questions is how long will he stay? We'll come back to that in just a second. On the schedule, I think that Josh Fleming will be the one that goes in for the Rays. And per their little rotation, their way of doing things, their little trends and schedule, that's what I see. That's probably what you see if you look into things like that also. But one key little bit of information came to me earlier this afternoon that I just kind of made a mental note of, and that was that Pete Fairbanks threw a complete session on Tuesday or today. Now, usually, if you're going to throw out of the bullpen, you start warming up the day before just by throwing a little small pin session, no weighted balls. You just keep your body loose for game day, and then you ramp it up a little bit on game day. But when you're going to go out there and make a start, you have your 3 days rest, and then you go out there and you do a day where you do some weighted balls. You go out there and you do your quote-unquote workout. And then the day before, you do a small workout, and then you throw 30 to 50 pitches usually. Not at full strength up until the last 10, but you just go out there and get your body, it's kind of like the muscle memory, just getting your arm and your body in that rotation so muscle memory can take over immediately tomorrow as you get loose. Well, why would he go out there and do that alone on Tuesday unless they were planning on utilizing him on Wednesday? Now, he's made 23, 24 appearances this year, something like that, this year, but all of them have come as a non-starter. He's had 29 strikeouts on the year, so he's had decent success. I think his overall ERA is like a 3.2, so he's not great. Now, he is a righty. Washington doesn't hit righties that well, but he hangs those balls a little high, which is something that the likes of Juan Soto loves. So it wouldn't surprise me if Juan Soto could take him out of Tropicana Field. Here's what I see, though. Even though it's Washington, even though we know that even if he pitched a bad game, that Tampa Bay can just outscore him, I don't see them letting Fairbanks go in just at random and saying, hey, here's your first start of the season, have at it. If he is going to start, which again, don't take that as law, he may very well not start. Fleming may start, which is who should be starting. What I see is if he does get utilized tomorrow, it'll be as a spot starter. But here's the difference. And usually you say spot starter, 1 innings, maybe an inning and a third, no more than 2 innings, and then they're gone, they turn it over. Usually when you have a spot starter, what you're trying to do is save a couple of very particular bullpen arms and closers. Tampa Bay needs to save their closers for later in the week. They utilize 2 closers over the last 2 games in reliever positions, and they went out there and pitched double their time. So you have closers that need an extra day of rest. You have closers that just need to not go in. Otherwise, come this weekend, Tampa Bay will not have any solidified closer in any game they have. That's not good, because Tampa Bay is sitting at 3.5 games above the Blue Jays, knowing that the Yankees are going to go on a late season run when they finally get that little trio back, Urshela, Stanton, and Judge. It should all be back together by week's end. They've got to keep winning games. They have to keep winning games if they want to make sure that at worst case scenario, they're at least above the Blue Jays and holding a second place spot, which I think that Tampa Bay should rightfully be the winner of the NL East, but that's going to determine what the Yankees are able to do on their late season run and making sure that Tampa Bay fights off any really bad stretches. So my prediction is that we see Fairbanks instead of Fleming early. It makes perfect sense. Everything adds up. They have no closers. They need to save closers. What do you do in that situation? You put in a spot starter. Fairbanks wouldn't be warming up if he wasn't going to be utilized, so he's going to get utilized tomorrow. He wouldn't have thrown a weighted ball session if he was not going to start because he did it alone. The only people on a ball club that do it alone are starting pitchers, period. You watch your bullpen guys, they go out there with other bullpen guys. So if Fleming goes in, he'll be backed up, or he will be backing up Fairbanks. So we know that Fleming will be taking the brunt of the work. But what I see is instead of the typical spot starter of an inning, if Fairbanks comes out and pitches well, they may let him go 2 innings. Hell, they may let him go 3. I don't necessarily foresee that happening because they're not going to try to say, just go out and overdo yourself, because then they could hurt themselves. They could overextend him. But I do think that he could, instead of an inning and a third, he could go 2 1/3. That means a lot in these situations. Fleming does the same thing Fairbanks does. He hangs those balls a little high and he hangs them a little outside. If Washington can hit anything from right-handed pitchers, it's that. So I do think that at some point on Wednesday, Washington will find, even if it's in the most minute ways, a little bit of success. I don't think they're going to run up the score. I don't think that they're going to, surprise people. But having Washington get a few runs isn't out of the question, especially at Tropicana Field, where Washington just over the years fares very well. Tampa Bay, who even has scored well at home this year, has given up runs in some of the strangest of times. We know that Tampa Bay will be able to tag Washington early. I think Washington could get absolutely tattooed with Voth on the mound. The question is, how long is Voth going to be in? If they pull him in the second and they go straight to the pen for the rest of the game, Their pin's not terrible. That could be a problem for Tampa Bay, not getting into a rhythm with a certain pitcher and letting batters see him, letting batters run through him a few times. That's where the brunt of the success is going to come from. But again, what did I say a minute ago? They're just waiting out the end of the season. So why make an adjustment now? Why, if he gets rocked early, do you pull him in the third and just go through the bullpen? It's not going to benefit you. It might benefit you this game, but again, at the end of it, it doesn't benefit anything. It really doesn't benefit this because you're playing an interleague matchup against a team that really doesn't matter. That's why I think Voth, no matter how bad he may pitch tomorrow, because if he does like he has been all year, Tampa Bay is going to get to him early and often. I still think they leave him in for 4 innings. Hell, maybe 5. Look at who they've got coming down the stretch. Getting him out of the way and not burning through a lot of reliever arms, that would be a recipe for success for Washington, if anything else, looking ahead to what's come this weekend. Tampa Bay is trying to do the opposite. They're trying to save arms for the sheer sake they need to save them because they still have a lot to play for. Either way, I think that it's a poor pitching matchup. I think Washington will be able to do something. I think Tampa Bay will be able to do a lot of something. And I think that 8.5 is just too low. I see 9 in a couple of spots. William Hill's got it at 8.5. I'm going to take over 8.5 runs. If your book has it at 9 by chance, like right now, Bovada has 9. My official free play is going to be 8.5 because I use William Hill for the numbers that I release. Everybody knows that. But if your book has 9, if you can buy it down to 8.5 and you're not going to be paying an absurd price to do it, buy it down to 8.5. If your book does not allow you to purchase points like that, you are free to play the total at 9. I wouldn't go above 9 just because then that's where you're getting into kind of choppy waters. So 8.5 over is your free play. If you need to play 9, feel free to do so. One of the two I feel okay with. But over 8.5, Tampa Bay Rays, Washington Nationals, that is your free play. Hopefully I'm right about Fairbanks going in as a spot starter, then Fleming backing him up and taking the brunt of the work. Not getting to see that bullpen that much, which is a decent bullpen nonetheless, which I think will just benefit Washington in the long run in that game, which I think will allow them to potentially get a few runs across, while I think Tampa Bay could run this total over by themselves. And with the ERA of Voth, we know it's possible. I think that Washington will be able to contribute and just, pad the cushion just a little bit more. So over 8.5, Tampa Bay Rays, Washington Nationals. That is your free play. Thanks for tuning in for another day. I love you guys. I'll see you back for Thursday. We'll do a double recap. Hopefully we'll do a scouting report, and I can't wait to share everything with you. Let's go have another big day. Go to chasewins.com. Sign up for a subscription. There is a profit guarantee on every single thing you purchase, and let's go out and close out another big day. Love you guys.